Hi, this is my Planta Sigma 20 greenhouse. It's 10 foot wide by 20 foot long, and I just got it finished a week or two ago. Anyway, I'm also in the process of putting up these automatic roof vents. They're pretty slick, but I just got a few tips and tricks you might want to consider. They've got an instruction manual and videos for putting these things in, and they're pretty good, but I found they didn't really work for me for one part. So here's the roof vent, and as you can see, it's closed right now. It's pretty cool out, and they all open up. I tried, it worked overnight. They closed right up and then opened up. I had the doors closed and it opened up when it was warm in here. But anyway, the problem I had was cutting this polybicarbonate stuff. It's a real bear. And the way the video shows it is they use like an alpha knife, and you scribe it and cut it, and it does work, but it's tough to do, especially when you're cutting the cross grain. Like I'll try and here's my picture of what I did. I did this with a jigsaw, and that worked just fine. And now close in here, I couldn't get the jigsaw in there, so I'm using this, I can't remember what you call those folding knives, and that works really slick too. So on these other parts down here, I'll probably use a knife on that because they're really easy to cut that way. There's just a membrane that you have to slice and that comes apart. So anyway, yeah, you might try that. And there's another reason, like I'm actually doing it wrong. I'm supposed to put in this purlin here before I do this. But what I found with this one is it's a real tough job you have to get these screws in here after you bolt the purlin in, and it's a real bugger because the polybicarbonate skin is in the way, and you're supposed to loosen the straps and get your fingers in there. And on the video, the guys that do it, they're younger and tougher than me, I guess, and they make it look pretty easy, but I found it just about impossible. I ended up hot glue gun the nuts on the thing, and that worked. I had to use the longer bolts, which you weren't supposed to do. But after I got it all done and cut the poly stuff out, then I could reach in and get it. And I changed the bolts for the shorter ones you're supposed to use. So that's what gave me the idea of doing this ahead of time. So what I'll do is I'll cut this polybicarbonate out, and then you loosen off these bands that hold this tight. And then you can push up that poly and get in there with your finger and hold the nuts and the screws and get them done up that way. And it's easy once that hole is out of there. I found on this other one that, so that's my thinking here. It's hard, I don't know if I explained it well enough, but you'll know if you put one together what a challenge that is. And even just cutting this stuff is hard to do with the alpha knife. I've got one of those big wide ones, but it was still tough to do. The blade is binding, but these saws seem to do a better job. So anyway, I thought I'd point that out, and these things they do work well. They're a pretty cool thing. They're like a hydraulic ram there, but there's no electronics. It's just the oil heats up and expands and pushes that ram out, which in turn pushes the door up, and it lets the heat out. So I'm going to have 4 of them in here, and that with the doors open. I'm hoping that'll work. Another thing I did, you can see back there and here, is I made up these screens that they put in real easy in the doorway here. And the reason for that is my wife is the gardener here, and she's got a real problem with these cabbage moths that get in. So I made up these screens for the summertime. I'll put them in place when she wants to ventilate it, and that'll keep the moths out. Now this screen is like 1/2 inch, so I'm hoping it'll let the bees get in there, but definitely the moths can't get in there. I got one trapped in here when I had the door open, and it couldn't find its way out of there, so that stuff did the job for that. So anyway, that's something you might want to consider too. Anyway, but the main thing I wanted to show you was these roof vent things. And anyway, you can think about it, and you could try the way the video shows it, and it might work for you. It just didn't work so good for me. Anyway, that's it for now.